Hi, I wrote my 9th piano composition a few weeks ago. This video will show the thought process behind writing this piece, because apparently, I think so highly of myself that I feel it necessary to explain the incomprehensible genius that is this composition. Hi, I am here in my mom's basement. Of course, the stereotype, and I am planning on making another piano composition. I've already made 8. So this will be 9, obviously. So I really want to create another piano composition. It's gonna be like around 3 minutes. At least I'm hoping it is gonna be around 3 minutes like the other ones. Now, my 8th piano composition was supposed to be about 3 minutes, but then I got lazy at the end of it, so I just stopped at about 2 minutes instead. But I want to make this one at least 3 minutes, if not longer. And, well, what's the idea for this piano composition? Well, I don't have a specific idea in mind. I wanted to, like, basically, my favorite piano compositions I've made so far are number 2, 7, and 8. So I kind of wanted to be similar to those 3, but maybe add a couple of other extra ideas as well. Like, the only plan I have is that I want it to sound cool. Like, that was kind of my only plan for like piano composition 8 and 2. And although for number 8, well, actually for basically all of them, I had a pre-planned motif. So like number 2, I literally just chose one motif and then I only used that motif throughout the entire piece. And I realized after making that piece that it's kind of difficult to make an entire piece based on just one idea. So obviously, I mean, not necessarily obviously, but following that revelation, I've been allowing myself to use basically as many motifs as I want, which it usually ends up only being 2 or 3. For this composition, it's just going to be like all my other all the ones I've done recently, which is where I can use as many as I want, but preferably probably just like 3 at the most, maybe 4. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like, I could use like 8 different motifs as long as they all kind of sound good together. So I don't really need to limit myself to how many I need to use. But anyways, so the motif for 9. Here's what's different about this. I haven't come up with one yet, and I don't even have one saved. I don't even have a motif saved. So I have to make one up an entirely new one up for this one. And I don't even know what it's gonna be. So there, jeez. That really have to take that long to say that. Are there any other preliminary things I need to say before I start working on the piece? It's gonna be 3 minutes. I gotta make up a brand new motif. It's probably gonna be more like 2 or 3 motifs. It's gonna sound similar probably to piano composition 2, 7, and 8 because those are my 3 favorite ones. Yeah, that's basically it. Funny. Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. That's it. That's my plan. I'm just gonna make up some motifs and try to see what I can do to make them sound cool. Nice job. Should I do anything weird with time signatures? I don't know yet. I'll decide that at some point later. I think this vlog is over. I don't think there's any point to continue. Okay, bye. Hi, it's now 12:32. I actually got some stuff done. So, I have written this much. I wrote this, also this bass line, but not sure if I'm gonna ever use it, but I kind of did use it here, but like not exactly the same. But anyways, yeah, I was able to, so basically what happened, the way I came up with this stuff here is that, first of all, I wanted there to be a constant pulse of eighth notes at 130 beats per minute. So that was the first thing I came up with, was that rhythm, I guess. Like, I came up with that rhythm. And then I had trouble trying to come up with a motif. And in fact, I don't think I even have come up with a motif yet. I can't, because what I've written so far isn't actually derived from any musical idea, except for the fact that it's a whole tone scale. So for some reason, I was messing around trying to figure out what to do, and then I was like, whole tone scale sounds cool. So basically, it's just a whole tone scale. Not just basically, literally. It's literally just a whole tone scale. But here's the catch. I had to fit it within my rhythm that I'd come up with. And then for some reason, instead of just keeping with that rhythm, I wanted another rhythm on top of it. So basically, I came up with the second rhythm, which goes 3-3-2. That fits into 8 beats, or 4 beats, or that are divided up into halves. So yeah, basically it's 3-3-2, 1.5, 1.5, 1, and it's just the whole tone scale that goes up like that. And then for some reason, I mean, this part is just a variation where I do the exact same thing, except instead of having the notes sustained, I actually have them as eighth notes. And then for some reason, I just felt like doing this at the end of it. So that is what this whole line is with variation. And then after that, it's a descending chromatic scale. Except divided into eighth notes. And that's what I've done so far. Oh, I forgot to mention, actually, I was trying to write the left hand. I haven't finished writing the left hand for all this stuff yet. So it's looking like it's just going to be in my original rhythm in the left hand, obviously, which is sets of eighth notes with apparently the accent on each fourth beat. But, and I just had a scale. I basically just have a chord that matches or that I wanted here, and then it changes to a different chord, and then it changes back to the original chord and back to the other chord. And then we're going to have to add some new chords here. I don't know what those are going to be. So I actually succeeded in coming up with something. This composition. So I'm going to eat lunch. Bye. Hi. Hi. Since the last vlog, I added the bass line to this line, which consists of chords, obviously. Also, I added the bass line to this line, and it was also chords. And then I decided to be lazy and just put chords. And then I decided to write a melody that still involved the whole tone scale, but have 16th notes in between the notes. Wow. Then I continued that melody, but with triplets in between the notes. And then I realized that I really like this melody that I wrote here. So what I did was I just repeated that melody in a bunch of different key signatures. And that's all I've done so far today, and that's all I'm going to do today because I'm stupid. So on Wednesday, I finished the harmonization of the stuff I had written up to this point here, and then I added this and this, and this is as far as I got on Wednesday. Now it's Thursday. Hi, this is Noah from 3 Weeks in the Future. I will explain this stuff in more detail wow. So first we have these three measures. These consist of all three of my attempts to write a left-hand part for this measure. The last one is the one I ended up using. However, they all just happen to be sitting in my score together, and when I listened to it, it sounded really cool, so I decided to write an entire section of the piece just based on these three measures. So first I have these three measures played twice, then I wrote notes in the right hand to go along with it. And that's all I was able to finish on Wednesday. Now back to the vlog from this time. Also, I decided to start using a Bluetooth speaker instead of my computer speaker because I don't want to use earphones because, well, I don't know, I guess I just feel like I'm stuck to my computer if I'm using it. Yeah, that makes sense because I'd like to sometimes get up and walk around. And the computer speaker sounds horrible when I turn it up to a loud volume, so I decided to switch to Bluetooth speaker. So yeah, I didn't make any vlogs on Wednesday because I didn't feel like it. But now I'm here on Thursday. I've timed the amount of time that the piece takes up so far. Even after all of that work, actually it wasn't that much work. I just did it very slowly and inefficiently. But after working on it for 2 days, I only have 1 minute and 23 seconds. Seriously. But this 9 is taking a long time because, well, I don't know. Am I really creating that much stuff? I think the reason this is taking so long is because I don't really have a motif that I'm falling back on. Like the first section of the piece, well, that part took a long time because it's actually a bit complicated. It has a lot of accents. Well, they're not accents, but a lot of accents in specific places. And it took a while for me to figure out what I wanted the melody to be, but then I ended up just making it the whole tone scale and then a series of 3 notes. And then after that, it was hard to know where to go from there. But then I was really lazy and just put like chords in the left hand. And then there was a very difficult part. So this series of 4 measures. It kind of took a bit of time for me to figure out what the 16th notes would be in the right hand, but then I finally realized it would just be fine if I did chords. Like chords would have worked just fine, so I just did chords. And the left hand matched the chords in the bottom. And although the chords didn't work so well when I was descending down the whole tone scale because it sounds very dissonant, so I don't know if I ended up doing actual chords there. I don't remember. Dang it, I have to look back. And then this measure was the hardest measure probably to write in this entire thing because these triplets are not really made up of chords. Like they're chords, but they're like diminished and augmented chords, and they don't sound very good. If I simply just repeat the chords in the left hand in triplet form, it does not sound good at all. It sounds really bad. So I had to not strategically, just like use trial and error to individually pick which notes would sound decent in the left hand. And it took forever, but I finally got it. I'm gonna stop. And not to mention the fact that this part, I had to do basically the same thing here, where I had to individually pick note by note every note that would be in the right hand. Because I couldn't just use some kind of pattern or formula. I had to use trial and error to see what sounded good here. It took 5 billion years to figure out what notes I would put in the right hand, but yeah, I got that all done. But maybe that's why it's taking forever. And then I didn't make any more vlogs. I was able to finish the composition after working on it on Thursday and Friday. We can now go over what I accomplished on those days. Also, to make things easier, whenever referring to this motif, we will just call it motif 1. Anyways, I had these 3 measures written. Like I explained earlier, this section repeats this bass line and does different stuff in the right hand. So at this point, I wanted to add a section where the right hand plays motif 1 with triplets in between, but I was unable to do this while making it sound good, so I eventually gave up on that. Here's what I did instead. I decided to repeat these 3 measures, but with different notes in the right hand. I moved these 2 measures from here to here and copied this measure to here. Then I wrote different notes in the right hand for these 2 measures. Finally, these notes were added to create a melody on top of all the other notes. After adding dynamics, this is what I ended up with. Then, I wanted the piece to settle down after reaching this climax. So I just have a single line with motif 1 in triplets with a diminuendo to mezzo forte. It quiets all the way down to piano in these measures where I bring back the original 8-note rhythm in the right hand. Now we're back to the start of the piece with the 8th note rhythm and the whole tone scale. But instead of continuing how I did originally, I replaced the left hand with the whole tone version of motif 1. While the right hand continues the melody from the beginning of the piece, the left hand keeps playing motif 1. Now begins a section where motif 1 is sped up to twice the original speed and plays repeatedly in the right hand, alternating key signatures. At first, the left hand plays the 8th note rhythm. Then I wanted the left hand to play a melody at the same time as the right hand. It took me forever to get something that worked, but I eventually settled on a variation of this motif. We'll call that motif 2, so that's what this part is. Then I started running out of ideas, so I just went back to these two measures, but in a different key signature. Then we have this, let's call it motif 3, playing over motif 2. Finally, I decided to do a repeat of this whole section of the piece, but instead of being random chromatic notes, I made it into B minor. To end, we just have a few chords based on motif 3. I was originally going to do a variation of the beginning of the piece here, but since I had already reached 3 minutes, I was too lazy and decided not to. Wow. And that's it. That's how I created this piano composition. So good for me. Great job. I will now play the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed this long rambling video and would really appreciate feedback. Goodbye.